Okay, hello everyone. I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm really excited to share with you on the topic of job searching under the radar. You know, you should absolutely not be afraid to look for a job, and there are lots of ways to do that without alerting managers, coworkers, everybody. I know if you're on LinkedIn, I'm guessing you're here because we've connected with each other on LinkedIn somehow. And I know it feels like there's a lot of pressure to network, to create content, to engage with posts, you know, even to put that open to work ribbon around your profile picture. And you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that to have a successful job search. And I really want to show you how to do that. So feel free at any point to put questions in the chat. I will definitely make sure that we've got time to answer some of those, either at the end or along the way if I see something, you know, relevant pop up. But let's get back to the screen and talk about how to make this happen. All right. Okay, let's go back here. So let's dive right in. Now, primarily, I am going to be talking to you about how to use LinkedIn for your job search, for this stealth mode, cloaked, under the radar version, however we want to talk about it. LinkedIn is an amazing platform for you to use in your job search. So let's jump right in. First of all, I want you to think about your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to assume you have an awesome resume, but a key component, so to speak, for your job search is your LinkedIn profile. Now, if your resume is your brochure, your profile is your professional website. You actually have far more space to share your value on LinkedIn than you do on your resume. So I want you to take advantage of every section LinkedIn provides so that you can leverage this powerful tool. Think of LinkedIn as a big giant search engine. So if you want to be found by people, then you want to take advantage of all of the tools, all of the sections that LinkedIn gives you so that you can be seen by other people. Being seen by hiring managers and recruiters is something that will start to happen naturally, even when you're in this under the radar mode for job searching. And I'll talk more about that as we go along. First of all, I want you to have a future-focused headline. LinkedIn's headline is going to default to your current position, but it is editable. And I'll jump into a live demo as we get along here, but just so you know, you can change that to anything that you want. You don't have to leave it to your current job title. And I recommend that you change it or you add to it so that you are more searchable. So include your current job title for sure. If you are concerned that someone from work is going to be checking out your LinkedIn profile or you're connected with them, you can make that change and you don't have to worry about it. Include your current job title, but also include adjacent job titles or the job titles that you're applying for that are most similar to your current role. Think of these as characteristics or functions of the role or alternative job titles that you're applying for. You can also include an industry or some other role characteristics. One of the ways to help you do this is to carefully review the overlap, the intersection between your current job and job descriptions that you are looking at, the jobs that you want to apply for. Make sure that you're matching up some hard skills and expertise in that headline so that it stands out and it becomes very keyword searchable. No one is looking for your exact job title with the company name at the end of it. like in that default. So don't be afraid to change that up a little bit. You're not going to be notifying anybody. The cool thing about LinkedIn is there's no automatic notifications of changes you've made to your profile. So you never have to worry about that. Now, when there are opportunities where notifications might happen, LinkedIn gives you the option to opt in or out of that right there before you hit publish or before you hit update. So to help you kind of get a better idea of some of the things that you might want to include in your headline, I love creating a word cloud. Now, my favorite platform for this is called tagcrowd.com. I've got the URL right down here. What you can do is you can put in a job description, copy and paste a job description into TagCrowd and create this really cool word cloud of all of the words in that job description. Now, this one I ran for a marketing director role, and this is the top 50 out of 171 possible words. So notice brand is biggest and is the most intense in color because that word is used more often than any other word. So I'm seeing brand, I see build, I can see us consumer, marketing, strategy. All of these were pulled directly from the job description. And now I'm going to be able to use those in a headline. So if, for instance, if you are a current marketing director, but you're looking for something slightly different, maybe you're looking to be a brand manager or get more directly involved in consumer marketing, notice how this job description word cloud has given us all of these great words to use. Marketing director, brand builder, consumer marketing strategy. These are all pulled directly from this word cloud. And when you do that, pick the words that are most aligned to what you want to do. They're also at the cross section of what you currently are doing, so that really all it looks like is that you're talking about yourself, that you're participating in the platform. You're not setting off any alarm bells for job searching or that you're looking or anything like that. All right, let's keep going. Your about section. Your about section is what most people really under leverage. And I say this because, typically just the first 4 or 5 lines is available, and, someone has to actually take an action to read more, to see more, but you get 2,600 characters in this section. So imagine how many really cool keywords you can include in this section, a combination of hard skills, soft skills, transferable skills, even key accomplishments, technologies that you have. This is a great section, and like your entire LinkedIn profile, it's all keyword searchable. So I want you to take advantage of this section specifically to include keywords. Like I said, it really, someone's got to be taking a deep dive into your about section to click more and see everything. So you can include, if you don't want to call it key skills, or you don't want to call out the new certification that you're doing so abruptly, you could refer to it as interests and expertise. You can just talk about interesting courses I've taken. Refer to these things. Look at your current role and position skills and responsibilities, results, accomplishments, all of these things that are especially most relevant to your new roles, including looking at job descriptions. Is there anything in that job description as a bullet point that wow, there's a great overlap in this bullet point to what I'm doing now? And oftentimes you'll find that those overlaps are the softer skills, things like leadership and communication. If you're detail oriented, if you're a very structured, orderly person, or if you're creative and you love variety, these are all things that are oftentimes included in job descriptions. They are applied to you because you're using those transferable skills in your current role. So you'll want to find those overlaps, because here's the deal. Recruiters, hiring managers, they are using the keywords in those job descriptions to help them source candidates on LinkedIn. They're trying to take this big, giant talent pool and whittle it down to a reasonable talent pipeline that they can use to source candidates, to reach out to people. All right, here is an example of an about section. I've got a couple of slides here, but I'll just read it to you. This is an example of an about section that I wrote for a client who was transitioning out of teaching high schoolers to ed tech, or she wanted to be in training and development inside a corporate organization instead of focusing on education. So let's read this. I'm an education professional with extensive experience in training, development, and instructional methodologies. I have a verifiable track record of achievements in e-learning, curriculum design, and teaching a wide variety of skill levels and learning styles. I approach goals and tasks with a highly inner-directed, self-starting energy and can be relied upon to launch projects as well as provide support throughout the onboarding process as the situation requires. I've utilized my experience in working in traditional educational settings as well as e-learning together with my outgoing, persuasive, and empathetic nature to elevate the learning experience. As an instructional professional, I thrive in dynamic environments that place a high value on team relationships and employee development. Now, if you'll notice, I haven't stated anything in the about section about this person being a high school teacher, but every single thing I've described applies to someone who is a high school teacher, but also applies to someone who is in learning and development, who is in curriculum design, who even inside a corporation might work in the HR department, doing training and onboarding. You're onboarding people as a teacher, right? You're onboarding students all the time. The skills that are required to do that seamlessly are the same, whether you're onboarding a student or you're onboarding an adult inside of an organization. Employee development could be described as, helping students or helping your coworkers, your fellow educators in developing their skills as new technologies come on board. So all of this is applicable to both roles. That's what I mean about finding those crossovers, those intersections between what you're doing and what you want to do. Let's look further, because there's a lot more to this about section. We've listed key skills. Notice there are some transferable skills in here. There are some hard skills in here: leadership and management, digital learning tools, growth strategies, virtual teaching and learning platforms, adult learning methodologies, presentations, webinars, performance analysis, data-driven decisions. Again, these things are applying to both. So you never have to worry about setting off any weird cues about looking for a job with your current role when you're listing things in a way that actually is elevating your current role. It's actually giving better descriptions about what you do, and at the same time using the keywords that a recruiter or hiring manager would use if they are searching. All right, let's keep going. Now, I put in a little break here because we want to again talk a bit about the skills, the approach, the style that you're bringing to the role that you will bring to your new roles as well. Again, these are highly relevant to the roles, the positions, even the industry that you are seeking. So in this sentence, I'm highly flexible and adaptable, utilizing a variety of teaching and instructional methodologies to ensure training program participants have an engaging experience that provides long-term performance improvement. My ever-growing expertise in instructional technologies includes Google Classroom. Do your list, all the tools that you use, especially those that you know you will be using in your new role. My career contribution has impacted training and development challenges positively by combining my skill in conveying both technical and conceptual material in a clear and concise manner, alongside my friendly, relatable, and persuasive communication style. Wow, great attributes to have as an educator, really great attributes to have in any role that you would choose to pivot to if you are an educator. And this can be done for any role. This doesn't matter if you're pivoting from your current role to something that's very different. It actually doesn't matter if you're really just find yourself in a toxic environment and you want to leverage your skills to get a similar role in a different company, working for a different team. This all works no matter what it is you are looking at for your final outcome in your job search. Now, let's talk a little bit about the experience section. Your professional experience section is where you're going to describe actions, impact, responsibilities, and results you've created in each role over your career. Note, the most compelling content you can include is that which is most relevant to the role you are seeking. So very much like we've been talking about, notice the consistency here. The headline, the about section, and now the experience section are all about finding those relevancies, those connections, the areas of your career history that overlap with what you're seeking, and use job descriptions as a reference. You don't have to make this stuff up on your own. When you have job descriptions, jobs that you've saved in your LinkedIn account, you can use those as a reference, looking for the skills, responsibilities, and expertise that you already have. Again, because you already have those skills, because you're using those skills in your current role, you're not going to be, just because you've enhanced it, you don't have to be telling someone that you're looking for a job. And the reason it's okay for this to read a bit like a job description is because job description keywords are what recruiters are using to source candidates on LinkedIn. So they can check all of their little boxes. They can say, these are the keywords I'm looking for. And if you have included those keywords in your sections, then you are going to show up in search. So that's getting you the inbound leads that you want. While we get into in a few minutes here, the outbound activities that you'll do that will help you find roles and connect to the right people. All right, remember, you're crafting this so it's making your profile searchable. The job title. This is a really interesting area of your experience section because, as you might think, you're typically putting in your exact job title that you have at your current company. Now, you can keep this exact job title, but you could also adjust it, or you could add additional keyword descriptors if you want to. Again, thinking about what is it that someone's looking for. This is a really great thing to do if your company uses inside language for job titles. That is very common, whether it's an industry or a company. What marketing director means in one company could be a mid-level manager. In another company, it could be someone who reports to the CEO. So think about that when you're thinking about your level, and think about what is it that you want to describe about yourself and your role that just expands on what you do. You can also include a short summary of the company, who they serve, who you report to, and if applicable, who reports to you. Also include bullet points describing your role, your responsibilities, impact, and accomplishments. And as we've been talking about all along, make sure these are closely related to your future role as much as possible. Now, one of the biggest things I see when people ask me to take a look at their LinkedIn profile is no information underneath the experience sections. And what's very interesting is when you are in a particular struggle with your current role, when you are feeling very beaten down and deflated because you're in a toxic environment, it's very common to not want to put anything under there. I mean, just the idea of listing things with your current role, especially if you don't want to be there anymore, feels awkward and certainly uncomfortable, and you really just don't want to do it. I can actually tell by looking at someone's experience section which jobs they really liked and which ones they didn't, based on how much information they're including under each of those roles. So I want you to go back to your profile and look at it. Is your favorite job from 5 years ago have a ton of information and your current role has nothing? Let's even that out. It may feel uncomfortable, but that's why I love going back to job descriptions to help you create that information in your about section, or excuse me, in your experience section. So say, for instance, you're doing this short summary of the company and the bullet points. Here's some idea. Oops, well, not quite ready for that yet. Go to the company website. If you are, struggling with the company and what to say about it because you don't want to be there anymore, go to the company website. Look at how they talk about themselves. Use that as reference for your short summary of the company. Maybe even go look at job titles with your exact role, pull some bullet points out for that. So you're describing specifically what you do, and then also pull job descriptions of adjacent roles and job descriptions of the role you want. As you start to compare those lists, those bullet points of each of those roles, you'll start to see the overlaps. And of course, go back to Tag Crowd too. Use Tag Crowd, upload your current job description in there and see what words stand out. Upload your future job description in there and see what words stand out, and look for the ones that are the same. This will help you be visible to people without being visible with regards to your job search. Okay, so now let's take a look at LinkedIn. So I'm going to, I'll stop sharing for a second so I can go back and share the LinkedIn profile. Let's see. So here we are at my profile, and mine is set up a little bit different perhaps than yours will be, but there's a lot of things that you can see here that, based on what I just described, will come to life a little bit. Notice the headline. Now, my current job title, scroll down, is founder and CEO. Now, people who are looking for help with their job search are not looking for someone who is a founder and CEO, right? They're looking for a career coach. They're looking for someone to help them with their interviews. That's why on my headline, I've included all of these keywords here. Career strategy coach, job search advisor, interview consultant, life coach. These are the keywords that I am using so that when someone is doing a search based on those words, I'm showing up in search. Okay. Now you can do the same thing. You can just make sure that you are using those keywords, and this is how it plays out. I always recommend building out your string of job titles and job functions in a Word document first. Do not use commas or punctuation like a forward slash between your keywords here. Use some kind of a symbol. You know, I've used this little vertical line symbol. I don't know, it's called a pipe symbol or something. You can use, you know, a dot, a square, a star, whatever you want. Feel like you can personalize it, that works. But using those symbols in between will help the keywords be more visible in those searches, because that is punctuation, and no one's searching for career coach, comma, job search, comma. Like that just isn't how Boolean search strings work. So you want to make sure that you're separating all of this with your symbols. Okay, now you can notice I have open to work activated on my profile. I do not have the open to work ribbon around my profile picture. You can choose this open to work if you want to be visible to recruiters who are using LinkedIn Recruiter. Now, one tiny word of caution here is if the recruiters inside your company are using LinkedIn Recruiter and they are searching, then if you're open to being seen by recruiters with this function, it's possible that you might be seen by them. However, if you're not afraid of that, and I would say that you maybe don't have to be, then feel free to do that so that you're visible. You don't have to do the ribbon. Here's what this looks like. Notice you can put in job titles, the job titles that you want to be found for. And the reason I have these is because, you know, I just would love for someone to reach out. It just overall makes me more visible. Maybe there's a recruiter who wants to make a pivot. That's fine. I don't mind. This is something that just, again, helps me be visible on the platform. That's why I'm doing it. Now you have your options of on-site, hybrid, remote. You can put your locations in here. You can also put in your start date. Now you can say immediately, I'm actively applying, flexible, I'm casually browsing. Even if you are casually browsing, I suggest that you click the immediately, I'm actively applying option here, because most recruiters want to see who is actually open to making their move. It doesn't mean that you don't have choices. You're going to do interviews, you're going to go through interview processes, you're going to have lots of conversations, but because this is a filter that recruiters can use, most of the time they are actively searching, so you want to demonstrate that you're actively applying. Now, of course, you can select your job types, and then notice down here with this little arrow, this is where you choose to see who you want to see that you're open. This is all, which puts the ribbon around it, and this is recruiters only. Notice what LinkedIn says here. They take steps not to show recruiters at your current company, though they can't guarantee complete privacy. So this is something that you can just decide to do and be comfortable with it, or not do it, which is also fine, because I'm going to still show you ways to make yourself visible to recruiters, even if you don't do this. All right, let's close that, X this out. All right, let's go down a little bit further. You also have analytics on your profile. Now, this is mine. It's private to me. You will see yours. Notice that you can see how many people have viewed your profile. You can also see your search appearances. I love this because when you click here, you will see the keywords you were found for. Notice that all of the keywords that I'm being found for are the exact keywords I want to be found for. when you start showing up in search more, and there's a certain number that you'll need to get to, if you are just getting started and you're just getting active on LinkedIn, it may take a little while for the algorithm to kick in and show this to you. Notice it's also a week behind. So your changes that you make now, you may not be able to see the results of those for a little while. But this is a really great feature that helps you know, hey, I'm being found for the right keywords. If you're being found for keywords that are irrelevant or maybe a little too aligned with your current role instead of your future role, then that's your cue to go in and just make some little tweaks to your LinkedIn profile. Now, you're also going to see companies where your searchers work. You're going to see job titles of your searchers. But the most important thing here for you is going to be the keywords that you're being found for. All right, let's go back. Now, you have an option to include some features here. If you want to add some, let me scroll back up here real quick. If you want to add some other sections, you can go here to add profile section. It's entirely possible that you don't even have an about section yet. That's fine. You can click here. LinkedIn gives you the core sections to add. You also have your recommended sections like features, and then there's additional sections, projects, patents, awards, honors. All of these things are available to you. So click the ones that you want to add. And they will show up and you can start editing those. Features is really great if, say, for instance, you have a blog, then you can have a link to your blog on here. Again, LinkedIn is a professional platform, but it's also a way for people to get to know you. It's a way for you to share your personal interest as well as your professional interest. So if you have a blog, great. Why not include that if you are a marketer or if you are in communications? If you have a topic that you like talking about and you write about, include it. It's a way to showcase something about you, personal, professional, but it's also a way to leverage the platform the way it's designed to be leveraged. LinkedIn, like any other platform, is a social media platform. And like all of them, their mission is to give users meaningful experiences. And the people that are getting meaningful experiences with regards to a job search are recruiters. So what do you think LinkedIn's going to do to keep the recruiters paying their fees for having the recruiter version? They want to give those recruiters meaningful experiences. So when they're doing their keyword search and they're coming up with profiles, of course, LinkedIn is going to show them the profiles that are most relevant and are utilizing all of the tools, all of the sections on LinkedIn as they're designed to be used. So don't be afraid to add these sections. Think of it as just a way to be visible. And like I said before, LinkedIn is not a platform that is constantly, notifying and pinging people of your changes. When I go in here and I make changes to my features, it's not notifying anybody. It's just doing this under the radar anyway. So why not take advantage of it? All right. Your activity is going to be here. I'm not going to worry about that because I'm not suggesting you have a bunch of activity. Here's the about section. Notice it's going to show just the first few lines. So make those as relevant to your current job as possible, just in case someone's skimming. And then as you click see more, that's where you're going to enter that additional information like I showed you. Now let's get to the experience section. Notice in my current role as a career coach, I'm listing myself as a founder and CEO, but I'm also listing additional job functions, additional things I do as if they are positions under that company. You can do that too. Make sure that if you have multiple roles in your existing company, that you list all of them. Don't If you've got a career trajectory, then let's show that off, because each one of these sections is going to be 2,000 characters available to you to describe what you've done. So don't keep it super simple and try to put everything into one section. Show your career trajectory. Now, the one I really want to expand on here is my role at Gold Canyon. Now, my exact job title was Director of Product and Merchandising. Now, that was a lot of inside language at that company because my role was product development, it was product design, it was merchandising. I was also responsible for all of the marketing, the consumer-facing marketing with emails, digital marketing. I also had oversight over the e-commerce in the company, where customers could come buy product online. So clearly I had a lot more responsibility than the job title, Director of Product and Merchandising, said. So this is an example of how I used keywords that were associated with my role instead of my exact job title. Now, I could have listed Director of Product and Merchandising, but I also could, say I was looking for a job while I was still there, I might have listed my exact job title, but then I also could have put in digital marketing strategy, brand management. I was also in charge of a rebrand there. So there's lots of ways to leverage this, thinking of it as keywords and not just a job title. Same thing down here. My title was product development manager, but I want to be known for product design. I want to be known for development. So I separated those out into functions of the role instead of the exact job title. Now let's scooch down here to education. Some of the ways that you can help to age-proof your LinkedIn profile is to leave out your education dates. LinkedIn does not require this. You can also not go as far back into your career to all the way back either. Really, people are mostly interested in the last 10 or 15 years. If you've got older work history that is relevant to the roles you're seeking, then you may want to include that. My career background is somewhat eclectic, so I like to leave it in there because it also showcases that I can work with clients and in any industry. I can work with them whatever role they have, because throughout my career, I've worked with IT people, I've worked in sales, I've worked in supply chain. So by including all those, for me, what I'm demonstrating is I can work with any client. For you, you're going to keep the most relevant roles and include descriptions under those roles that are most relevant to the roles that you are seeking, the positions that you're seeking. Now with education, if you entered this a while back and you included your dates, it's likely that you cannot edit out those dates. You can't go in and take them out once they're in there. However, you can delete your education and re-enter it, add it again, and this time leave out the dates because that is an optional field. You also have the opportunity to include some description about your education. Most people are not working in the area of their degree. That's just a fact. I think only something like 25% of people are actually doing jobs that are related to their degree. So if your degree isn't related to what you're aiming for, that's totally fine. If you want to include some descriptions that you feel are kind of relevant to what you did, especially some of those transferable type skills, then feel free to add a little bit of description here. If you have any licenses and certifications, there's a section you can add for that. You can add volunteering. What if volunteering is the direction you want to go? Say the company or the organization that you're volunteering for is actually your passion and you want to move from the corporate world to nonprofit, then volunteering may be a really great section for you to add, because now you can describe the things that you're doing as a volunteer, the responsibilities that you have, the impact that you've created, and it will be considered volunteering, right, as far as your current employer is concerned. But from a keyword searchability perspective, you absolutely want to include it because of keywords. Last but not least, take a look at your skills here. This is an often forgotten section of your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn gives you 50 skills. Fill it up to as close to 50 as you can. It doesn't matter if there are some overlaps and some redundancies in there. Just fill it up. For sure over 40. I get as close to 50 as possible. It's a little hard to edit when you have 50 because you have to take some things out and move some things around. So say you get up to 40, 45, you still have wiggle room to adjust your skills based on new things you're learning, based on things you're seeing in job descriptions. So definitely include these. It doesn't matter so much if you have endorsements for those skills. So don't worry about that. Just include the skills, because those are filters that recruiters who are using LinkedIn Recruiter, they can click those skills. They want to see profiles that include those skills. So make sure you have them added up. Now, I said last but not least, but I guess I'm still getting there. Publications, if you've had any of those, of course. Organizations that you are involved with. This is another great way to include organizations of interest that might be a great tie into the roles you're looking for, but also pay attention to companies. Note that I'm following 488 companies. I want you to follow companies too, and the reason is because recruiters who are looking for candidates can search based on people who are already following the company. That is one of the filters that they can use. So if you are targeting a company, which I highly recommend, make sure that you click follow so that you show up in that search, as they're taking, like I said, that giant talent pool of people on LinkedIn and bringing it down into a talent pipeline. Just like any kind of search, just like any kind of search engine optimization, the more details that they put in terms of checkboxes and filters, the more relevant the search results are going to be for them. And we want you in those search results very proactively. So again, you may be getting people reaching out to you. You're getting inbound leads instead of having to do all these online applications. So make sure you're following companies. All right, now let's go back to another, click that, and I'm gonna share another LinkedIn screen here real quick, because now I'm going to show you more about how to find jobs and how to find people at those roles. Okay, here we go. So when you are on LinkedIn, what you want to do is go over here to the little briefcase. That's the jobs section. You may already know that. Notice that I've put in here marketing director in the United States. You've got any number of filters that you can use here to help define that, but I want to cover a couple of things here that'll really be helpful. Now, marketing director, isn't it interesting that LinkedIn is telling me that my profile matches this job? Not a surprise, since I came from a marketing background and I have a lot of keywords sprinkled throughout my profile about marketing, LinkedIn has picked up on the fact that this job is a match to me. You are going to have this access for yourself. You're going to have this notifier for yourself when you are building out your profile for those kinds of keywords, the roles that you're interested in. So this is the one thing to note. Another thing to note is, LinkedIn's also saying it over here. Let's look at another one. Now, marketing director at Occidental. A lot of times LinkedIn shares the profile of the person who posted the job. Listen, guys, this is like an open invitation to reach out to this person. I'm going to give you some scripts when we get back into the PowerPoint slides to show you how to do this. But if Jennifer posted this role, then she's pretty much saying, hey, reach out to me about this role. Now you're going to look down through here. You're going to look at the job descriptions. You're going to see, what, if anything else she has listed down here. You'd be surprised if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, how many people who post roles actually give an email address, their personal email address, to reach out to them with your resume. These are the kind of things you want to keep an eye out for. Here's another one. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to do this. Okay, here's Joseph. Joseph is also showing that he has posted the job. Now, if you have premium, you also, instead of sending a connection request to the person who posted the job, you also have the option to send an in-mail. Now, I really like LinkedIn Premium when you're in job search mode. You get the first 30 days for free. There's no contract or anything like that. So if you want to cancel, you can do that at any time. But for, I don't know, around $30, $35 a month, it is absolutely worth it because it gives you more capacity for searching. If you don't have it and you're in search mode and you're in outreach mode, LinkedIn's going to eventually throttle that activity and recommend, based on your activity, that you sign up for premium. So you're just going to be much freer to reach out to people. Also, with premium, you will see who is looking at your profile. So it will tell you who it was, what company they're from. This is a great indication to see if people that you are interested in, people you've connected with, recruiters, whoever, are looking at your profile. And if they are, then you can send that connection request. Also, of course, someone from your current company looks at your profile, you will see that too. And if they do, you can I would be proactive about it and say, hey, I saw you looking at my profile the other day. I didn't realize you were also active on LinkedIn. Isn't it a great platform? So positive, so encouraging for business. That's exactly the kind of platform it is. So if you catch someone from work looking at your profile, don't hide it. Let them know that you see the value in the platform and it was cool that they're active on there as well. When you do that with ease and certainty and you're not feeling nervous or scared or awkward about it, it's amazing how it'll just reduce any possibility of that being weird at work. So let's look here at Joseph. If you have premium, notice what happens. I can click here and LinkedIn starts the in-mail for me. Even, I'm interested in your marketing director role. It starts filling this in. Now it's going to pull from your most recent experience, which again, may or may not be exactly what you want to say, but it gets things started. And I would recommend that, of course, you customize this a little bit, because imagine if Joseph is just getting people that are not doing anything here, he's getting the same message over and over again. So you be the one to kind of customize it a little bit. Now, LinkedIn's going to limit your character count, and that's fine. This is not your chance to be salesy and talking about your accomplishments and pushing all that on people. You don't have to do that at all. You just need to be concise and direct and let them know of your interest. I'll give you the scripts here in just a bit. Now, another one here is also very interesting. This is director of brand. Notice that LinkedIn is doing a good job of saying, well, you look for marketing director, director of brand is also similar. Now, there's also a good possibility that marketing director is in here as a keyword, because you could put in additional keywords here with a Boolean search string, and it's going to reduce all of this down to more relevant roles instead of the 76,000. But what I want to show you here is when I click apply, it takes me to the company website, but I can also go back. Hold on. All right, let's go back to LinkedIn. Oh, rats. Sorry, guys. Let's get this back to where I want it to be. Okay, notice LinkedIn is asking me, did you apply? And I can say, yes, I did. This brings up another interesting point. When you see how many applicants are up here, I do not want you to find that discouraging at all, because the only thing that is contributing to that is the number of people that have clicked apply. That's why LinkedIn's asking the question. They want to help you track your application, but they're also wanting to make sure that this is fairly accurate. So if it's 200 people or if it's 10 people, do not worry about that at all. Let's see if there's another one here. Wanted to show you one more thing, because sometimes, let's see if this one will do it. Ah, perfect. Notice that when I clicked apply, some recruiters have set it up so that you can share your profile when you click apply. Now you can toggle this on or off, but when you do, if it's on and you click continue, then LinkedIn's going to share your profile with the person who posted the job, even though they haven't shared their profile with you. So this is why you want to have your profile looking awesome as you start applying for jobs. All right, now let's try one more little thing here. So if I put marketing director and then I use a Boolean search string and I said, and fashion, notice it's going to take it down from 76,000 to 1,900. This is a way that you can use a job description, and when you put and in all caps between keywords, it's going to reduce your results, bring it down to the most relevant results so that you're looking at roles that are the ones that you want to apply for. Now, the only reason that this has gotten down to this level is because somewhere in the job description, the word fashion has been used. You can do the same thing for yourself. All right. Okay. One more thing. Let's stop sharing on that. Let's get back to the PowerPoint slide. Oh, I mentioned direct outreach. Here are some scripts that you can use. When you are applying, when you're job searching under the radar, I don't want you wasting your time with online applications. They're very time consuming. You know that sometimes it can take 30 or 45 minutes to fill out an online job application. If you're currently working and you have any kind of work-life balance, that is a lot of time involved. So I don't want you to do that. And online job applications are not the most effective way to job search anyway. The direct outreach approach is going to give you a much better result because you're reaching out to humans, and it can be done in pockets of time. So as you saw with those posts that we looked at, the recruiters were visible. So you would send them an email, or if you don't have premium, then you are going to click on their profile and you're going to send them a connection request. Let's bump back and take a look at that in a second. So send a connection request with a note. Keep it short and sweet. Hello, whoever, first name. I'm reaching out to introduce myself and ask you to keep me in mind for any positions you come across in this or that. This is one that is more general. They haven't posted a specific role, but you're very interested in the company and you've done some research and you found a recruiter or a hiring manager in that company, and you're introducing themselves to let them know of your interest in any roles that come up related to XYZ. Here's another one. I came across a job post for, say, marketing director, and your profile when I was researching target companies. I'm introducing myself to let you know of my interest. I'd love to connect and learn more about your goals for the position. This is all you need to say. Put this in a connection request. Put this, the beauty of an email is you can include an attachment of your resume right there with the email, but with a connection request, you can wait until after they get back to you, and then you can attach your resume. So when they accept your connection request, whether or not a message is sent back, a lot of people feel like, oh, they accepted, but they didn't respond. That's okay. The only thing you are after is to get them to accept your connection request. That is it, because now you can send a follow-up message. Hi, Susie. Thank you for accepting my invitation to connect. I'm looking forward to learning more about your current marketing director and brand management positions. There's an example. My resume is attached for your consideration. See how easy this is? Once you find the person to reach out to, you're going to send a connection request, and you're going to, once they accept, say thank you and get your resume in front of them. This is a highly efficient and very effective strategy. I'm telling you, it works, and it's something you're doing completely behind the scenes. You're not responding to someone's job post about your interest in that role. You're not doing any gimmicky things by engaging and networking and that kind of stuff. You're just quietly behind the scenes, under the radar, in stealth mode, reaching out to people and getting your resume in front of them. I'm going to go back one more time here back to LinkedIn so that you can see what we do if we don't have if we don't have the person who posted the job visible on the job post itself. What you're going to want to do is you want to go up to here. This is a hyperlink. This will be to the company's page. You go to the company's page. You click on people. You come down here. This is a very small company. You type in recruiter. Enter. Oh, 0 rats. Maybe human resources. Two employees. Okay. Now you see the VP of people. Oh, and look at this. Here is someone who actually says in their profile, we're hiring Senior Talent Acquisition Manager at Endless. You can click right here to connect, or you can click on her profile and find a way to connect. Now, I can connect because I have 9 shared connections. If you are a 3+, you may not be able to connect unless you have premium. So if there was lots of recruiters, then look for someone who you have a shared connection with and click connect. You can always let them know again that you are researching roles, that you are researching recruiters inside the companies that you're targeting. Go back to using those scripts. But this is a perfect way to find someone if it's not evident because they haven't included their profile in the job post. To here. Okay. All right, guys, we're getting there. With the InMail, as I mentioned, you can attach your resume. I love this message because you're even making a note that you are in a career transition. I'm making a career transition, and notice your job posting for a XYZ. My skills, expertise, and strengths are highly aligned to the role requirements. I'd love to connect and learn more about your goals for the position. My resume is attached for your consideration. I always like saying that you want to include learning about goals for the position, even if it's a recruiter and not a hiring manager, because recruiters have goals as well. When you're reaching out to a recruiter, you're kind of in a Jerry Maguire moment. Help me help you. I notice this role. I've got some great skills, and you can help them place great candidates. You can help them submit great candidates to those roles. So it's perfectly reasonable to say that you want to learn about the goals for the position, whether you're reaching out to a recruiter or you're reaching out to a hiring manager. All right, now I want to give you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about what it would be like to work with me. My foundational tool for helping clients understand their strengths and leverage those strengths in their job search is a report that's called a personal dynamics report. There's 2 versions. Personal dynamics is a little bit more robust. Personal strengths includes all of the same information in terms of basic strengths and transferable skills. The reason I love this report is because it is identifying you not just on the things that you've done, but who you are, your workplace behavioral strengths, the amazing transferable skills that you bring to the table that underpin the success that you have had over the course of your career and will underpin your success going forward. This is just one small snapshot of an 11-page report that all of my clients get when we're to help them define themselves with regards to transferable skills, as well as for interview preparation. It's a really phenomenal tool. Notice that this particular sample report, look at all the great words that are describing this job seeker. This person is someone who's committed, loyal, accurate, structured, dependable, rhythmic, composed, agreeable, supportive. There's clients who are going to be in this range too. People who are curious and confident, self-assured, enthusiastic, responsive, impatient as a strength. Can you imagine when impatience is a strength? It's so good that you like change, you're versatile. Maybe you're a big picture person. When you have words like this to describe yourself, to insert them into your LinkedIn profile, because these are often keywords used in job descriptions, but you also know how to use them when you are doing interviews and you're learning, you're talking about yourself in a way that doesn't have to be completely associated with your past, with the role that you don't like anymore. And you can describe yourself in these kinds of where you're painting a very, very vivid picture for people about who you are and how you show up. It's a most validating, powerful aspect of the work that I do with my clients. Now, if you are in job search mode and you want to have personalized one-on-one coaching, my job search advisory program could be perfect for you. We go through your workplace strengths, that report, teeny one-page snapshot of the report I just showed. We go through that in depth, and we create what I call a marketing communication strategy. Everything about my marketing background comes into play when I'm helping my clients create their so-called campaigns on getting a job that they want, searching under the radar, using all the tools I just shared with you. But in addition to that, we're going to look at the roles in the companies together. We're going to evaluate those to make sure they're aligned to your goals and the desired company culture. So many people are afraid that they're going to end up with the same micromanager or the same toxic environment that they came from. It's a concern that I know some of you may actually be dealing with as well. So you're going to have me right there alongside you. We're going to evaluate those things, and we're going to help you ensure that you're not slipping into the same thing. Now you're going to get a brand new resume and cover letter. We're going to leverage all those transferable skills. We're going to leverage your goal when we optimize those, plus the LinkedIn profile review. I write all of the updates. So all you have to do is copy and paste them in. You saw one of them as an example. We're going to talk about that job search strategy. So we're going to go a little deeper into what I shared with you to do it exactly for you. And I have a lot of recruiter connections, and I'm kind of fearless, you guys. So I'm not bashful. I will make those introductions. I will share your profile with your permission to recruiters in my network when we feel like, oh my gosh, this is someone that you need to get in front of. We'll do interview questions, preparation, post-interview debriefs. That includes mock interviews where, if you want to, we actually record our sessions so that all the Q&A, the critique, the redirect, the sample answers that we work out together, that you have that recording that you can go back to. And as with a lot of times, people who are pivoting out of a toxic environment or a job that you don't like, or simply stretching yourself to get a role that's a promotion, if you feel like you've hit a ceiling where you are, we're going to address all of these areas of concern. That could be confidence, that could be imposter syndrome. You will have someone to help you through this all the way through. The other thing is, I make myself available for unlimited 30-minute sessions. That means if we need to meet a couple times a week, that's exactly what we'll do. The worst thing that can happen is that you and I meet on a Tuesday and you find out that you have an interview coming up on Friday afternoon. I don't want any of my clients thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not talking to Elissa again until next Tuesday. What am I going to do? No, we will figure it out, and we will get the time in so that you have the preparation and the confidence that you need going into that interview. Now, if by chance you are making a more significant move and you know that you need to get out, you need to change, but you are carrying so much weight on you that you don't know what you want to do, or maybe you've got a really eclectic career background and there's lots of things that you could consider, but it's kind of like the Cheesecake Factory menu, right? It's choice overload and you don't know what to do. Then in that case, my career move strategy program is probably right for you. This is where we'll dive into your career history. We'll look at those considerations so that you can have clarity and a strategy on a new career direction. All of the things that were included in the 45-day are also included in this one. So evaluating roles, looking at your workplace strengths and creating a marketing communication strategy. The other thing about the 90 days is that we'll create a roadmap outlining next steps, future goals, and promotions. We'll take the time to do that because I also don't want you ending up in another role that isn't fully utilizing everything you have to give and helping you achieve your full potential. So we'll outline the roadmap. So once you land one role, you know what the next steps are for you. All of the things with regards to job search strategy, interviewing, mock interviews are also included. Other areas of concern that we can cover are gaps, education, age. If you're someone who is over 40, over 50, and you're kind of freaking out because you think your age is going to be an issue, then let's coach on that. If you're someone who is like me, who went to college but never got your degree because life got in the way, or in my case, a great job became available and I decided I wanted to pursue that, then we'll talk through that as well. So it doesn't have to feel like an obstacle. We're going to navigate all of the challenges and frustrations, including anything you're going through, like a toxic environment in your current role during your job search. Now, I'm going to bring this to the table no matter how we're working together, because I know I've been in those toxic environments myself, and I know how that can be a weight and a load that you're carrying along with you that prevents you from taking the action that you really want to take in your job search, and sometimes can be an energy that you bring into interviews with you. And I don't want you to do that either. The 90 days also includes unlimited access. The other way that you can work with me is through Job Search Field Guide. This is my online access, and this is live group coaching 3 times a week. Every week, I coach on interview insights and prep. I coach on job search strategy, and I coach on resume and transferable skills. This is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday schedule. So every Tuesday, you're going to be able to drop into coaching and be able to ask questions yourself, get coaching directly, and also listen to other people get coached so that you can learn from them and you can learn from those circumstances. All of the coaching calls are recorded, so you can go back to them. If you're working full time, you can't be there during the live session. That's okay. You can sit back after the kiddos are in bed and you've got your favorite beverage and watch the coaching call recording. I also put in for those of you who are very structured and you love worksheets and you love watching step by step, there's an on-demand 5-step support in there so that you can take the coaching deeper and you can spend a little more time on that. Short videos that'll walk you through step by step. And I also have an ever-growing resource vault on job search and career development topics. So as I learn new things, as I find out new best practices, all of that's going to go in there so that you have constant access to it. And the other cool thing is that you get lifetime access to Job Search Field Guide. So this is something that really for $14.75 for forever, anytime. Can you imagine, like, you land a great new job and you decide I'm ready for a promotion or I'm ready to seek a new role. You're going to be able to go back to this resource time and time again. Now, you can find out more at elissashuck-careercoach.com if you want to get more details on these, but the bullet points should speak for themselves. So hopefully you're good with that. All right. Man, this has gone by really fast. I hope that you have found it helpful. You will get the recording, so I will share with you. I'll follow up with that in the next 24 to 48 hours. So you get the recording of the call, and that way you can go back and you can stop and look at any of that you want to. With regards to the strategies that I was teaching, one of the things that to keep in mind is that you don't have to be afraid. Okay, if I could leave you with one thing here, and we do have a question in the chat, so I'll get to that as well. But if you could think about your job search, and your thought is there's something out there for me. I don't have to be afraid. What would that look like for you? How would that make you feel? What kind of actions would you be taking? You might currently be thinking, job search, oh my gosh, someone's going to find out. And when you're thinking that, well, you're feeling hesitant, you're feeling nervous, you're not wanting to go for it like you know you need to. First of all, change your thoughts. They will absolutely help you feel better and help you change the actions that you take. But as you can see from everything I've showed you today, you can do a whole lot to make yourself visible to people, as well as have an easy peasy, rinse and repeat, pockets of time job search strategy. Gosh, on your lunch break, you could take 15 minutes, search for a company, look for a recruiter in that company, and reach out, and just keep doing that over and over again. And I'm telling you, you will play into the numbers game aspect of a job search. This technique of direct outreach, when you put in the time into it and you detach, don't worry about the outcome. Detach from the outcome. You are planting seeds. You do not need to worry about whether or not someone is coming back to you with a response. Farmers who plant seeds do not sit out in the middle of the night with their lamp, with their flashlight, and stare at the seeds and worry about the seeds that aren't sprouting. They just focus on the ones that are. And you can do the same thing too. Get active, do this direct outreach. You won't be notifying anybody of anything that you're doing relative to a job search, but you will absolutely get results. Okay, so one of the questions that's in the chat is, I started a new job less than 3 months ago, been searching for another role because it's not a great fit. This person does not have their new role on LinkedIn. And just the question is it appropriate to include the new role or not? Like, just have that gap. Like you left your other job, you haven't put your new job on there. So you may be thinking you've got this ever-growing gap on LinkedIn. Listen, I'm a big believer that if the gap is no big deal to you, then don't worry about it. If you want to put your current role on your LinkedIn profile because you want to capture the job description and the keywords and everything about it to make yourself more visible to potential employers, to recruiters, then I say put it on there. Be selfish for you. Don't worry about the fact that that the company isn't a good fit or that the role isn't a good fit. Go for it the way we've described and include only the bullet points about that role that are most relevant, that have the most crossover to what you want. And listen, when you land a new role, if you want to take off that 3-month job, that 4-month job, take it off. It's no problem. This is your personal, professional website. This is for you to showcase what you want to showcase. So I say, leave it on, add it if it's appropriate for the roles that you're seeking, because you want to leverage the keyword capability, the keyword searchability. That's cool. But after you land, take it off. If you just want to erase it from your memory, that is totally fine too. Now, in the recommendations section, is it important someone recommended you? Oh, thanks for asking this question. This is a really good question. Recommendations on LinkedIn have kind of replaced references. You used to put on your resume, see references available upon request. That's waste. That's a single line of content on your resume. I never include that on the resumes I write for clients because I'd rather have that line be dedicated to a skill, an accomplishment, or something else that is telling someone about them and why they're great for the role. And LinkedIn recommendations kind of replace that. So if you don't have LinkedIn recommendations yet, here's what I would recommend that you do. Look for someone who is a former supervisor, your boss, someone in your past who would write a recommendation for you about what it's like to have you on their team. Also, look for someone in your career history who would write about what it's like to work with you side by side. Think of this as a colleague, someone who was on the same team as you, or if you were in management, whether that's middle, executive, whatever, find someone who was at that equal level with you, who could write about what it's like to work with you side by side. And then the third one I recommend is if you have been in a supervisor role, or if you've been a team lead or a mentor, then get one of those people from your career history to write about what it's like to work for you. Okay, what they learned from you, how you helped them. Those three things will be plenty to give someone a picture of who you are in the workplace. People who are reading the recommendations are hiring managers and recruiters. So if you can grab those three, or say, for instance, you've got some, but they're really old, then, go back to some other colleagues and see if you can get some that are a little bit more updated, or you can always ask for an edit on one of your current ones. Go back to that person and ask them if they would mind rewriting it so it has a more current date. But I'm always for adding them if you can. All right, excellent. Okay. Are there differences between the language that you'd use for a job that's above 100K or some other threshold versus those below that dollar amount? Ooh, another really good question. This is how you would differentiate that. Take a look at the job descriptions again. If the job description is your reference, is your information, inspiration rather, then chances are the language of those future role job descriptions are going to be what you're aiming for. Now, if you are looking at giving yourself a promotion, say you're in middle management, but you're ready for, a VP or senior VP role, then you can start including some of those SVP, VP type language in your LinkedIn profile. You don't have to overdo it, but make sure that at least your LinkedIn profile is sprinkled with those kinds of words so that you're showing up in that kind of search. I realize that if you're a director, you may not want to put vice president in your headline, but you can certainly look at the things you do, and some of the things you do are very much like what VPs do, then include those further into your profile, like in your experience section, and definitely in your about section. That was a really great question. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if you have a side business, how might you suggest navigating that? Oh, this is so good. You guys have the best questions. I've had side businesses all throughout my career. And there have been times that I included the side business and times I haven't on my LinkedIn profile, depending on, again, how I wanted to show up in search. If you have a side business that's relevant to the roles that you're seeking, then I suggest that you go ahead and put it in there. If you don't, it doesn't have to be the first one. Any role that you have as X date to present, LinkedIn gives you the option on how you want to list those. So you could list your current role at your current company as the first thing people see. And then the next one, your side business, can be the second role that people see. That would be one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to include some details about your side business in your about section. It's still going to be keyword searchable because it's in there. But if you're concerned that your side business is going to cause agitation where you work and so you don't want to make it part of your experience section, then don't do that. The other thing is that in most cases, if it's not a conflict of interest, now the caveat here is that you are doing something that's different, then what you're doing, that you're not working for the competition, and you're not doing something that is compromising the privacy or proprietary information at your current job, then go ahead and list it. You know what those limitations are. You know what your company's policies are on those things. If the policy is that you do not have side businesses, if that's a clearly stated policy in the company, then it's going to be 100% up to you whether or not you include that. You could include it as an interest in your interest section. You could include it as an interest in your about section without talking about it as a side gig. But if your company doesn't have a policy on side gigs and consulting on the side, then I say go ahead and list it as a present role, but just list it below your current role. All right, awesome. Anything else? Wow. This has been so great, everybody. I am really glad you joined me today. Thank you so much. If we're connected on LinkedIn, then message me. If we're not connected on LinkedIn, go ahead and send me a connection request. Let me know that you joined this webinar. And that way we can start some direct messaging. And if you have some questions that you didn't feel comfortable sharing on the Q&A in the chat, then I would be happy to answer your questions through DM. All right. Thank you so much. Happy job searching. You can do it. I'll talk to you again soon.